And so, beloved masters, greetings on this evening. And it is that we will now open the circle, or close it, yes, close the circle. And so we welcome the east, the places of air, the feathered cane. We welcome the south, the places of hearth and home and heart, and the warmth of love. We welcome the west, the places of the great waters, all of the fish of the sea, the whales, the dolphins, and we welcome the north. Beautiful green energy, Gaia, the Earth Mother, the Great Bear, and Spirit binds them all. And so the releases. For those who are watching for the first time, as this is going out on YouTube, we burn releases, small pieces of paper upon which are written things that we choose to let go of. And then we have a ritual fire where all of the releases are burned and lifted up to Father Sky and Mother Earth with blessings that what you release will be freed, and what you call to put in that place will benefit you. And so we invite the elements into the circle, the fire, the air, the earth, and the water. And so, beloved masters, amazing times. As the circle is closed and the space is sacred, we speak of things that are happening and things to come. And so, dearly beloved masters, this new moon is a moon of turning a corner. However your life has been going, whatever direction you have been seeking, everything is changing. These are times of new beginnings. These are times of leaving what has been behind. So I will speak a moment about the letting go of things. It certainly, dearly beloved masters, it is not trying to force things out of your life. The logical mind has a tendency to want to decide what will stay and what must go. And yet a lot of times the things that logic would attempt to force out of the life may be something that's vitally important to the ongoing. For logic looks at things with a critical eye and says, good things, we keep them. Bad things, they must go. But spirit sees all of it. It sees so much clearer. And in spirit, Things are not separate. Right and wrong, good and bad are aspects of separation that the logical mind has figured out in order to put things in categories. Good people, bad people. So, beloved masters, this is a time where spirit is moving in to overshadow all of the affairs of earth, all of the people of earth, to bless all of the souls of earth. Feel within yourself, in your heart, in your soul, feel the blessing. Feel that opportunity to know yourself in ways you have not remembered yourself in lifetimes. It really doesn't matter what your chronology, for everyone is changing. And youth may even believe that they can make their decisions and choices without spirit's interference. But it is, dearly beloved masters, spirit doesn't seek to interfere. Spirit seeks to lift you up, to clarify things for you, to show you a whole new vision for who you are and where you are going. New moon marks a time of new beginnings. You've been away from yourselves so long, living focused on the outer world, what's going on in the physical human places. And now the energy is up spiraling. It's opening up, it's evolving. If you could see in your heart, and I have mentioned this before, it looks very much like a 1,000-petaled lotus. And each petal is an aspect of your wondrous self. And you sit in the heart of the lotus, the watcher observing all the beauty, and also recognizing, and yes, I am that beauty. I am that I am. One with all of the things that are becoming in these times. Leaving behind the things that no longer serve my life, my mind, my emotions, my physicality. It isn't about driving anything out or doing destruction at all. It's simply about focusing on releasing energies that perhaps as you begin to let them go, you will be amazed at how tightly you've held on to these old, emotional, painful, dark ways of being. new beginnings. Forgive yourself. Feel you. Feeling kindly, compassionately toward yourself. Feel that love that is greater than any you've known, and allow it to fill you. The new moon is in the sign of Leo, the sign of the heart, the sign of love. It is also a sign of rulership. But it isn't in these times dominance or control nearly so much as it is owning within yourself your own sovereignty. There was a time when the king and the queen were actually called sovereign. They were considered elevated individuals, not because of what they owned, but because of the wisdom, because of the patience, because of the calm demeanor that the sovereign had. God, a goddess, all that is. So the new moon speaks of many changes and great opportunities in this time, for the sun is the ruler of the sign of Leo. So the new moon, powerful moon, joins the sun in its home sign. Enlightenment, expansion. But don't just think about it, masters. Feel that energy in you, in your life. Feel your power. Not dominance or control. That takes far too much energy in these times when so much of the old heaviness is left behind. But the enlightenment, new understanding, new vision, the willingness to walk new paths, and this new moon sits in an opposition to Pluto. Pluto, the ruler of Scorpio, highest spiritual aspects and deepest secrets or mysteries of life. Pluto sits in Aquarius, the new order, where you're going energetically, walking your path on the way of equality. The open heart, the recognition I am a seeker. You've been looking for answers for lifetimes, but for so long you've been looking out there. With the assistance, with the blessing, with the empowerment of divine creation, you are being brought to focus on your inner self, the most powerful, wonderful, amazing being that you are. The opposition of the sun and moon to Pluto is a transformational, transitional energy that raises you to a higher consciousness of yourself. Dearly beloved, amazing, divine, creative masters. The new moon is sextile to Uranus in Gemini. Uranus is one of the co-rulers of Aquarius. It can bring chaos because it does recreate. It can tear down, but never for the sake of destruction, only for the sake of evolution. And so, dearly beloved masters, sextiles are opportunities. The Uranus in Gemini can be called the voice of God. The Geminian energy of the seeker, of the speaker, of the one who draws others together in community, and the speaking of the essence of the divine in ways that are clear to you in these times, clear within. For the logical mind would deny a lot of the higher level understanding. So this is a clear, crystalline tone. Some might call it an angel choir. Some might call it a clarion call. Some might call it ding, the ringing of a bell. But however you hear it, experience it, hear it in all the different aspects of yourself. Dearly beloved masters, it is bringing you notice that you have pushed the snooze alarm for the last time. It's time to wake up, to get up, and to move with yourself in your life. Physically, mentally, emotionally, making changes, leaving old things behind. Even becoming more deeply acquainted with your physical body so that there can be healing that hasn't been available before. Even many will look to the ancient ways of healing, Chinese medicine, the homeopathics, the herbalists, those that work with the things of nature to bring health and well-being to the physical life, body, mind, emotions. To study, to learn, to discover yourself. These are a great part of this new becoming, this beginning that has actually been moving in since the winter solstice of 2020, when you might say the light of the Aquarian age broke the horizon. And it's been rising ever since, bringing new light and new life and grand potentials. Many of you have been remembering things from your past, not just the past of this life, but from other lives, ancient lives, places I've been that I didn't even know I had been there, with people that I recognize as familiar, and yet my logical mind looks at it and says, these don't look like humans. And that may be so, because, beloved masters, a part of this new beginning is finding the connection within to the other worlds that have always been connected with planet Earth. But the logical mind has done its best to draw down the veils, to close away the minds, and to convince humanity you are all that is. At least in the technology of these times, there is beginning to be a slight opening in the logical mind that there might be other people somewhere. But for a very long time here on the planet, the arrogance of the ego mind declared that humans are the only ones that exist. Many of you have known different within yourself, and yet it was taught from so many different places that you began to question your own deep inner knowing. So a lot of these opportunities for new beginning are you remembering how to trust yourself, to really trust yourself, to have faith in you. Not you separate from the divine, but you in co-creatorship with the divine. The new moon sits in a trine. Trines are very powerful energy for moving forward, motivating, discovering new things. Neptune is about all things non-physical. And Saturn you might say is the epitome of anchoring, not angering, anchoring to the physical world. On the 19th of July, they were within 13 minutes of each other. Each degree has 30 minutes, or rather 60. And it is, as you would go through a degree, to only be 13 minutes apart is quite close. The energy of the vision of the other, your imagination, your creativity, feeling connected into your physical form, your imagination just delight in the experience of new freedom. Co-creative masters with the divine granted the ability to image. Because if you can't have a vision of what you desire, it's very difficult to bring it into being. So, dearly beloved masters, this Neptune-Saturn conjunction, trine this new moon, is really making a turning point where humanity are going to begin to move inward and upward. The deeper you go in the inner space, the higher the levels of accomplishment you achieve in your understanding, in your beingness. And Saturn and Neptune sit in a sextile to Pluto. So this is a very powerful, energetic connection. The sun and moon sextile Uranus and trine the Saturn-Neptune conjunction. Pluto is trine Uranus, and it also makes a sextile to the Jupiter or to the Neptune and Saturn conjunction. Cosmic energy being brought for creative use into the physical world. And there's a lot of celebration of technology. You might say the worship of the mind. And yet, this is so much more. AI is very connected with the sign of Gemini. Gemini is like a chameleon. It can imitate what it sees and hears. It can take on the colors of what's going on around it. And therefore, it is very, very flexible. And yet, in many ways, you could say the sign of Gemini, is so brilliantly flexible that it can almost be intuitive. And we say almost because the logical issue of the Geminian mind is it's divided, right and wrong, good and bad. It can have amazing intuitive insights, bringing forth what is called the voice of God, but it is the creations of the mind are not the creations of the soul. Soul can embrace the logical mind and work well with it. And dearly beloved masters, that is what you are reaching for. But where the world is today, where it's looking for not having to do much of anything, so if something or someone will just do this for me, and voila, there is AI. And AI can look just like you. And AI can sound just like you. And AI can be, for those who aren't paying attention, so much like you vocally, visually, that others might be convinced that it's you. But the deeper you go into yourself to find that connection to soul within, the subtle remembering, the delicate understanding, like the touch of a butterfly's wing, of soul. And because the mind doesn't understand soul, and because the physical orbs can't see soul, then logic says it doesn't exist. And yet here you are. And you've been here again and again and again for lifetimes. Soul is eternal. Logic can transfer from one lifetime to the next, or it may skip several lives. But AI cannot imitate soul unless you aren't paying attention, because the presence, the connection, that deep, deep companionship, that love, that peace that is beyond understanding. Those are things that AI cannot bring you because AI is still mechanical. And you are the absolute, amazing, indescribably beautiful outcome of divine creation. You are the embodiment of soul. And AI can either give it to you or take it away from you. There's been a lot of logical explanations and speculations throughout lifetimes about whether there's a soul, and if there is, can it be taken away? And logic would say, of course. But I assure you that that essence that you are, that you have been for time out of time, is truly who you are. And these are the times of discovery. Slow down, be still, and get to know yourself. Get to know you so well from the inside out that if someone gives you their opinion, you can hear what they say, but you're so deeply connected to your roots of spirit, not just the legacy of generations that have gone before, but the roots of spirit that are anchored in you. And beloved masters, this really is a time of awakening. Wake up. Know thyself. Go into your inner space where who you truly are will help you to discover how magnificent you are. And the logical mind has actually shamed humanity for even daring to think I'm magnificent, or I'm wonderful, or I'm beautiful, or I'm loved. But as you allow these connections, these opportunities, these callings of the beloved to all that is, feel, breathe in new freedom and gently allow your mind to disengage from the world. No, you aren't going to die. No, you're not going mad. No, you're not going to be so new that you don't know what's going on. But when you let go of what's going on in the world, it's as though all of that cacophony of sound, all of those troubled minds, all of those screaming emotions go away like dandelion fluff in the wind. And you see with new eyes because you're not just looking through your physical orbs. And you hear with new ears because you're not just hearing the words and waiting for someone to stop talking so you can, but you're feeling the essence, the energy of those words. What is that person creating with their words. Thoughts are things. What are you creating in your life, creative masters? You tell a story and you basically paint a picture with words. Feel your creativity moving you to the aspects of you that are your expression. Would you be an author? Would you be a musician? Would you be a painter? Would you love to speak with people? Would you love to walk from one side of the country to another, living your dream? Would you desire to be aware within yourself of the unity that's always been there? And yet, in these times, it would appear that humanity is so divorced, not only from each other, but from itself. So these new beginnings, yes, you're physical. And yes, it will seem like a journey, even if you're simply living in the same place you have lived and going about your affairs as you have, because we're changing. You're changing. And so are we, because we are one with you. We are not separate. The logical mind has desired to make the masters like deities that are superior or intouchable, while humanity is deeply longed for love, deeply desired to be embraced, to be accepted, to belong. So we are here, moving among you, touching you, embracing you, speaking with you quietly. If you are very close to a point of transformation, we may tap you to help you realize, be still. Let this moment happen. Don't try to run away. Just experience your shifts and changes. They're especially designed for you. What others are experiencing may or may not be like anything you are experiencing. But it isn't about comparisons. It's about the glory of your own divinely unique individuality, moving onward in the journey that it has been on since the beginning. Beautiful, elegant, passionate, and yet clear in the sense that you understand where you can serve and where you are simply required to wait. Where logic says, well, it looks like this is what is needed here, so I will do that. But you can't change them. So be more with yourself than ever. Logic says, how can I change the world? It starts inside of you. And you might say that from the moment that Pluto entered the sign of Aquarius to remain for the next 20 years, to this day, you have experienced so much transformation that you could not possibly comprehend what has occurred in the last 9 months. 9 months, a gestation period. And here you are. Time for new birth. Mars is in the sign of Virgo. Virgo is the healer. Virgo is goddess energy. Virgo is a sign that is very much connected with gardens, especially flower gardens, because the flowers, the stems, the leaves, the roots, the petals are so useful in healing. Natural medicine. Virgo is also about service. Coming to understand that there is a grand difference between being a slave or being a servant and being of service. To care for others doesn't make you a servant. It makes you a caregiver. To listen doesn't make you a slave to someone else's ideas. It can make you an amazing student of life as you listen, as you read, as you study. There are movements on the planet now to take away the knowledge, to do away with education. And it is, dearly beloved masters, we would have to say, yes, that for a long time, the educational systems, especially here in the United States of America, have been very antiquated because the teachings are still being conducted in many ways just as they were 100 years ago, 200 years ago. Go back much further than that, and dearly beloved masters, no one but the very wealthy were allowed to be educated. That may sound like a long time, but when you stop and think, about your parents and your grandparents, and some of you have even known your great-grandparents, that that would take your lineage back perhaps 200 years of a span. And that begins to allow you to realize that even though the Master Jesus was born almost 2,500 years ago, it was still in the Piscean age. And you are just now moving out of the Piscean age and all of its influences into the Aquarian age for the next approximately 2,500 years. Just imagine that. Stretch your mind, because logic has done its best to convince humanity that a narrow tunnel of knowledge is all there is. And it's even attempted to convince a great majority of humanity that they don't need to know, or they have no right to know, to read a book, to write, to understand a legal document, to know that I am free and actually give yourself permission to live it. And so Mars in Virgo sits in a square to Venus in Gemini. This is a motivational factor. Squares are very motivational. They create an energy so that you just can't quite get still and do nothing. There is that inner something that calls for movement, for change, for exploration. And exploration can be done in a library. But learn, plant seeds of information in the fertile soil of your soul. Attend to your heart. And dearly beloved masters, grant yourself permission to live your heart's desire. Dearly beloved, amazing, divine, creative masters. Not superior, and most assuredly not inferior, but equal in your uniqueness and potentially wise beyond the imagining of the finest technologists at these times. Because many of you have actually traveled in other places, other planets, some other universes. And every experience that you've ever had, every bit of information, wisdom, knowledge, that you've gathered is recorded in your DNA. That is the record of your unique evolutionary process. And then it is that Venus makes a square to the south node in the sign of Pisces, which opposes Mars. And it says, in the name of love, let go of your old karma. The south node deals with the things you brought into this lifetime that can be a foundation. The unfortunate thing is that much of humanity decides that if this is what I know today, then that's all I need to know. And I will rely on the past rather than seeking into the unknown future. So here is a T-square. You might say doubly motivational to move forward, to be reborn, to evolve into something, into someone that you've never known before. Ponder this. Gaia, the earth upon which you live and breathe and have your life, is a sentient being, a goddess who made the commitment to devote herself to being home to billions of souls in the greatest of love. And here you are. And Gaia, even though dire predictions have said she won't make it, is still whole and functioning in the love of the divine. And no matter how many choices and changes any one of you have gone through, here you are, operating in the love of the divine, God, Goddess, all that is. You are so loved. And this new moon is literally like a cracking of the cosmic egg. It is like a birthing of new essence on the planet, that those that are so dedicated to how it's been simply cannot permeate or devastate, even though they have become so careless, caring less and less and less about the Earth Mother, about her children, about the glory of the natural world, of the animal kingdom. And what for? $1. So let I remind you that in other times, the symbols of currency became part of stories, fairy tales, biblical stories. When the rich had to go forth and they could not take their physical things with them. And God admonished Lot's wife, Take what you can carry and move forward and do not look back. But she couldn't leave the wealth of the world behind to move into a beautiful new place. And so she became the currency form of the time. She became a pillar of salt. And then there was Midas, who was so in love with his gold that he became golden. He actually had himself transformed. A spell was cast upon him so that anything he touched would turn to gold. And logically, he thought that was an amazing idea until he touched his beloved daughter and she turned into gold. So the stories, the allegories, the reminders throughout time immemorial that those who will worship the golden calf, the salt of the earth, they left themselves and connected so deeply into the outer world. And this new moon, it's a new moon. New moons are operative energy from the inside out. Know yourself. Spend time in not necessarily the darkness within. The mind has given the idea that it's got to be dark inside of your physical form. Be amazed. Go into yourself with your own energy and be delighted, be awe-inspired at the light that burns within you. The violet flame, the white fire of God, the blue light of Lord Michael, his truth and his protection. So this new moon really is, in many ways, an opening of the cosmic gate. Come on. Go with us. There's a whole new age dawning. There is a whole new frequency changing. Lay down your burdens down by the riverside and make a vow. Ain't gonna study war no more. Let the old, let the old be done. Allow yourself to make the changes. You allow yourself. You give you permission. Because, dearly beloved masters, there may be those who believe that they can take your life from you in a physical sense. But no one can take your soul. That belongs to you. That is a divine gift from the beginning of time. That is who you are. I am that I am, one with all that is. Amazing times these are. Beautiful times these are. Look within and find the beauty. Look within and feel the love. And the more you connect to that inner space with the freedom to explore other worlds, the less the draw of the outer world will call you. For within yourself, in that connection to the divine, and it isn't really necessarily about religious tenets with supposed teachers who would tell you you can only have the good if you do the right thing, and then suggest that you probably can't as long as you're in physical form. You would have to drop this form to have a good life. Logic is very, very cunning. But we are here to assure you that right now you are in the midst of major transformation that is influencing you cellularly. Cellularly. And it will continue to raise you up by calling you deeper into the loving embrace of God, Goddess, all that is. The goddesses. Yes, men can call goddesses. And goddesses are not necessarily involved completely and totally in earthly conditions. It is goddesses can see beyond those limits. They can love you unconditionally. They can teach you with a wisdom that is astounding, especially if the man believes that women are stupid. Goddesses can show you wholeness because even though men have made this world their place, they could never have done it without the woman. So woman has been sanctified. She has been deified. She has been lowered to the pits of hell. She has been named both a temptress and a saint. And beloved women, the goddess emerging in you is who goddess is. And so live your goddessness well, sacred and joyful, crazy and clear. The absolute delight of life to dance and dance and dance, and then to embrace those that are loved and hold them close. Yourself close. Hold yourself very near and dear. Love yourself with every fiber of your being. It doesn't deny the love of others. It remembers you to the fact that in the oneness, you are part of all of them, and they are a part of you. And so, dearly beloved masters, these are the times of new beginning. This is an awesome configuration of heavenly bodies to begin to adjust the gates energetically, the gates of spirit. Great minds might spend lifetimes attempting to figure the mathematical equations when spirit simply makes the adjustments by how it feels. Yes, you could say the divine has already calculated exactly what is required for these times. Nothing is really preconceived. And yet, in the divine, nothing is totally chaos either. For divine mind names it all good. And so, beloved masters, these are phenomenal times. And we are absolutely honored to be with you in these times, to know you, to walk among you, to love you, to hold you, to speak with you. Remember beyond these limits who you are. And so, beloved masters, we will open the circle. And we thank the North, Mother Gaia, the great ways of nature. We thank the West, the waters of the earth, the spiritual movement, the waters of life. We thank the South, the fire of the heart seed, the blessings of the deepest of love. And we thank the East for its rising sun and its great awareness of new vision. And so the circle is open, that all that have joined us go upon your way and be blessed. Go into your day, go into your night, but know that the door is always open. May we meet, may we part, and may we meet again. And so we close this ritual